Thanks, Scott. So really, I want to talk to you about three things. The first is to give you an introduction to live bookings. The second is to talk to you about some key market trends we're seeing and our vision for where that market's going. And then finally, as with Livebookings, talk about the powerful network effect that we're seeing occurring today. So Livebookings as a company, we were founded in 2005. Our main investors are Balderton Capital and Wellington Partners. We're headquartered here in London. We have about 160 employees and operating in 9 markets in Europe. We have two core parts to our business. The first is to deliver operational efficiencies to restaurants, but also incremental diners. And then we have a service that looks out to the consumer side and offers a fast, secure, and instantly confirmed booking service. To understand the network effect within our organization, I think it's important to understand where our platform came from. And we did start out working with the fine dining restaurants, the Fat Ducks, the Gordon Ramsays, to take their paper and pen system and bring it into the digital age. We then built out what we call our bookings data aggregator, which is essentially a booking widget, and then finally our distribution to consumers. To me, the core part of this technology is that BDA, as that is what looks into the restaurants to grab inventory, but also out into the consumer side of the world. And when you understand that the BDA is central to our business, then you'll understand why we see our vision as increasingly simple, which is that in an increasingly connected world, the live bookings BDA will connect in real time every diner to every restaurant using any device. So where do we stand today? Well, in Europe, 10% of all bookings are done online for restaurants. And we believe that in the next 3 years, that will rise to 30+%. And I think some of the other analogies we've seen today around hotel bookings and certainly flight bookings, that's not an unfair assumption. Some of the more interesting statistics to me are that on our own platform, we see that 20% of all bookings are actually done between the hours of midnight and 9 a.m. I've never personally booked a restaurant between those hours, but it seems a lot of people are out there at that time. But also 44% of all bookings are done in restaurants' peak service times. And when we talk about using on any device, of course, mobile is a huge play for us, and tablets, about 14% now of all our bookings are done on mobile devices. That's up from about 2 to 3% last year. But we're also seeing huge increases in the uptake of people booking through social channels. So restaurants with Facebook pages deploy our widget and then market to their consumers there. Perhaps the most surprising channel on there is you'll see iVox by phone. So alongside our BDA, we put a telephone number. Consumers can call that telephone number, then that automatically takes the booking and puts it into the electronic reservations book. That was launched only 4 months ago and now is accounting for about 5% of all bookings. And then finally, I think the other trend we think we'll see is on the information points in the street is actually consumers being able to book through the BDA at that point. So when you have this big ecosystem running across any device, you start to build up and look into what is the live bookings network effect. And for me personally, it all starts with the restaurants. Because once you acquire restaurants, you acquire inventory. When you have inventory, you can acquire consumers. The BDA converts them. You generate more consumers, that generates more into your database, and then we can use our offers and deals platform to go out and attract more restaurants. So what does that mean in real numbers? Well, today we have over 9,000 restaurants. That's up from under 2,000 in August 2007. You'll see running alongside that the number of covers booked. It says on there, I think for August, just over 1 million. It's actually 1.3 million last month. And actually today, we've just had our record daily bookings of 60,000 covers for a single day. And then you'll see our consumer lines moving up as well. And when we have this powerful network effect and the BDA sat central to that, well, one of the interesting things that we see is that we can measure and monitor a large amount of data that flows in and out of that BDA. And that really allows us to optimize and lubricate the network effect. So we can tell which platforms people are coming from, what type of usage, what's the conversion rates. We can look at the consumers, where do they like to book, where do they like to repeat book, what's their favorite restaurants. We can look down into the deals. price, type, availability, times of sending out emails, what's the conversion rate. We can look at the social channels, the people's social graphs. Do you book at similar restaurants to your friends, where they're booking? And obviously optimize for partners and the restaurants too. So really, I guess, just in summarizing everything I've said there, we see the BDA as central to everything we do within our marketplace. But to make this business work, we need to acquire a large amount of restaurants, because that drives our consumers, which in turn can again drive our restaurants business. Thank you.